What is going on, you guys? Kevin here in the Humble Garage, and as you can see, old Betty White and Maria the Mercedes now have a new friend. This is going to be Beth the Buell, who I'm going to be doing a steampunk style Street Fighter build. It's going to be completely stripped down. Basically, it's going to look like a one-off custom. It's not going to look anything like this in the next, well, week or so, actually. I'm going to start right away with this build. So a couple of things that the owner did. I bought this from a gentleman named Justin out there in Mobile, Alabama. It was about an hour drive. It was kind of sketchy riding an unfamiliar bike on unfamiliar roads, also unregistered because, well, I just bought it, so I had the bill of sale and the title in my pocket, but, you know, it's not registered to me yet. But, so it was kind of a sketchy trip. I didn't know the roads, I didn't know the traffic patterns out there or anything. First time being on the highway with this bike, speed of traffic was like 75, so it was kind of a nerve-wracking ride, but the bike held up just fine, and this bike is a lot more freeway worthy than Betty White over there because she is wound out at about 60 miles an hour, and the highest I think I've ever hit is like 68, and that's just absolutely pinned. The Blast over here, the 2001 Buell Blast, I was cruising at about 75 the entire time, grabbed a handful a few times and got up to 80, 85, and it still seemed like it was pulling pretty hard. So, not pretty hard, but it was still climbing. So a couple things that Justin has done on this bike. First of all, you see the custom exhaust by Exhaust Concepts. He also has it heat wrapped, which I think is really cool. That'll go super good with that rat rod stripped down Street Fighter kind of look. What else has he done? Oh, he replaced the stock carburetor, which he also included. I have the stock carburetor, but he gave me well, it's installed with this aftermarket carburetor that allows you to have a manual choke for starting the bike in cold conditions, because this bike comes with an automatic choke basically that kind of doesn't work so good, according to Justin. So we've got that one on there, and then he also included the stock carburetor and the stock handlebars. These ones are a little bit lower than the kind of high-rise mini apes that come on the Buell Blast. Other than that, oh yeah, the turn signals are like these low-profile ones that he installed. They're a lot sleeker than the ugly-ass stock ones that look like huge lollipops or whatever. Just a couple things I've noticed on the ride home. I was going to have my GoPro on for the initial ride and my first thoughts and all that stuff, but forgot my GoPro, and it's like an hour drive each way, so I really didn't want to turn back for it. But I noticed the seat is not comfortable at all, especially compared to Betty White, which is like a very soft plush seat. This thing is not very comfortable. Between the seat being hard and it vibrating like crazy because the motor is basically half of a Harley Sportster engine. They just lop off the rear cylinder. We're going to talk a lot more in depth about that, but it's basically a Harley Sportster motor with one cylinder. And you can really tell that because it vibrates a lot, which you're about to see when I start it up here in a minute. I mean, everything shakes. The handlebars, you feel it in the pegs, you feel it in the handle grips. It's very vibey. Like you know that you're riding a motor that was built in-house with Harley Davidson. Like you can definitely tell, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's just something to consider when you get this bike. The seat height is extremely low, so not only am I flat-footed, but my legs are like pretty damn bent. So this is a great bike if you are, you know, a shorter rider, perhaps like a female or just a shorter rider in general. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give the bike a cold start right now. It's been sitting overnight since about yesterday afternoon. Oh yeah, he also put new tires on here. It's a different tread pattern on the front than it is on the back. Some more aggressive Michelins back here, but the front has more of like a, I don't know, standard cruiser style pattern. They're plenty grippy. I was, you know, swerving around on the freeway and, you know, doing some counter steering and all that good stuff, and it felt pretty good. So I'm gonna wait for this garbage truck to pass by, which I don't know what he's doing here because it's not even garbage day. But then, all right, that's extremely loud. And once he passes by, I'll go ahead and cold start this bad boy for you guys. Alrighty, gonna do me a little cold start here. I'm not really sure what positions are on the petcock, like off, on, and reserve, because it is not the stock carb that comes on a Buell. I do know like the Harley Sportster and Buell positions for a petcock. This is aftermarket though, so I'll figure it out. Actually, you know what? Before I fire it up, let's check the oil level. So the dipstick on a Buell Blast is up here by the gas tank. So not only will I be able to see the oil level, but also should be able to get an idea of the quality of the oil that's in here, if I need to change it or not. This dipstick doesn't do a... Maybe because it's not threaded in. Maybe I got to thread it in first, but it wasn't really registering at all, which I'm assuming there's some oil in the bike. Oh, it does say check when hot, so the bike is cold right now. And also it is on the kickstand, so that would make it a little bit lower because it's not upright. So yeah, let's check it again after the bike warms up, and once the bike's, you know, when I'm sitting on it, so that way the oil level's a little more accurate. Man, this bike is low. Holy bejesus. It is just so low to the ground. It's just a tiny bike in general. It's kind of long, but it's narrow and it's short. Got a nice little, came with a little Harley key tag on there. Pretty cool. Alright. Yeah, it's just super low. Crazy. Crazy. The neutral indicator doesn't work, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, it's not like a huge deal, but it kind of sucks a little bit. Oh, it was also missing one of the mirrors, which isn't a big deal because Florida and Alabama, they only require one mirror for legality, and, well, it's got one mirror on it, so ain't too bad. Let's go ahead and pull that choke out just a skoosh. Should help it start. Yeah, so the neutral light just started working out of nowhere. That's pretty awesome. So I got 7,427 miles on it. Pretty damn good. A Harley Davidson company. Yes, they are. You can definitely tell. A lot of the parts have the Harley Davidson shield stamped on them. The motor, like I said, is indeed a Harley Sportster motor with the back cylinder lopped off. Yeah, like right here. So I got the Harley shield on the rear brake reservoir. The bike is belt driven, which is pretty cool actually. There's no adjustment like with a chain. In fact, there's no maintenance whatsoever. You don't have to lube it or adjust the tension, which I do constantly on Betty White over there. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start stripping things off of it right now. A lot of the plastics and stuff like that I'm just not gonna want on there for the Street Fighter build, because I want it to look, you know, bare bones, rat rodish. So I'm gonna go ahead and start stripping shit off there, which will save a little weight, which this bike's already very light. The dry weight's 360, wet weight is about just shy of 400. It's probably a little bit less than that with this one because it has an aftermarket exhaust, which of course is going to be lighter. Yeah, so let's go ahead and strip off some of the shits that we don't need and make this thing even lighter.